Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos takes place this weekend in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night 173, Blaydes versus Volkov, and I can't wait for this matchup. In my opinion, and I said this in my full card prediction video as well, if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out, but in my opinion, Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos could be interchangeable with the main event of Blaydes versus Volkov. In terms of anticipation, I think I'm more anticipating Emmett versus Burgos than I am Volkov versus Blaydes. Now, that might be because Blaydes versus Volkov is a little bit less competitive. There's a general consensus that Blaydes is probably going to win this one. But in terms of competitiveness, Shane Burgos versus Josh Emmett is very close. Obviously, Shane Burgos is going to have some advantages in the striking and technical ability and how good he is in general, but Josh Emmett, on the other side of things, has this KO power at featherweight that just seems to be weird. He KO'd Masad Bektik with a jab, and I said to myself, Masad Bektik's chin is gone. Then Masad Bektik went to war with Dan Ige. Like, it's just this weird power that Josh Emmett has that I don't really understand. He KOs Michael Johnson. Who KOs Michael Johnson? Think about that to yourself. Who KOs Michael Johnson? Not many people. I don't think that's actually happened in Michael Johnson's career in the UFC for a very long time. I haven't seen him be KO'd. I know Justin Gaethje got TKO finish against Michael Johnson, but to flatten Michael Johnson like that is very impressive. Now, of course, Michael Johnson was cutting down to featherweight at the time. Michael Johnson in that fight was also, in my opinion, running away with the victory against Josh Emmett, but Josh Emmett got it done. I just feel as though Shane Burgos is going to be able to run away with the victory and then finish the race at the end, which is a lot of problems that a lot of people have with Josh Emmett. They're doing very well, but then Josh Emmett just finds that one shot, they get caught not really expecting it to come, and Josh Emmett flattens them, and before they know it, they're looking up at the lights, they're looking at the referee, wondering what happened, and Josh Emmett, the fucking orc, is walking around the octagon screaming, and they're like, oh shit, okay, I guess Josh Emmett caught me finally. I thought I was doing pretty well. Shane Burgos has a granite chin. That's something we can say. Masad Bektik has been KO'd before. He was KO'd by Darren Elkins badly as well, by the way. Put out cold by Darren Elkins really badly. Also, Michael Johnson has been around the game for a long time. You might not say that he's been KO'd, but this was after the Justin Gaethje damage. He's taken some damage in his career over the time. I mean, Michael Johnson's been in wars with literally everyone in MMA. I mean, he's been around for the longest time, it feels like. He was on the same season of The Ultimate Fighter. I don't even remember. I think he was on the GSP versus... I don't even know who the other guy was. But he was on GSP's season of The Ultimate Fighter, and he was a very good fighter in that season. Michael Johnson is very underrated, and his record does not speak how good, and does not tell the tale of how good Michael Johnson is, because they're all against UFC caliber opponents. So for Josh Emmett to go out there and completely obliterate him, I can see how some people think that's a great thing. But when you look at Michael Johnson's career at featherweight, you're talking about a guy who got choked out by Darren Elkins. I don't think Michael Johnson is the same at featherweight that he is at lightweight. I really don't think that's the case, because Darren Elkins is not the best featherweight in the world. And I know Josh Emmett beat Michael Johnson, but come on. You know, I like the performance. I really do understand that Josh Emmett has every chance in this fight. I feel like Shane Burgos should be the favourite, and if he is the favourite, then he's a favourite for a reason. He's just got this granite chin and this recovery time that is only matched by maybe Jorge Masvidal, where they don't fully get switched off. There's something in the brain chemistry, some kind of genetic mutation over their ancestry or some shit like that, where their brain just doesn't switch off completely. You saw this against Calvin Kattar. I don't think I've seen a cleaner uppercut than the uppercut that Calvin Kattar landed against Shane Burgos. Flung his entire body off of his feet and landed straight back on the ground, and Burgos gets right back up to his feet. I thought it was a bit of an early stoppage, but you know what? They weren't fighting for the title at the time. They were both relatively unknown at the time as well, not as known as they were now. So I understand somewhat of the stoppage. They're not fighting for their lives right now. They can come back and stay healthy in the future. I thought it was a bit of an early stoppage, though, and I actually thought in that fight with Calvin Kattar that Shane Burgos was getting the better of things. In that fight with Calvin Kattar, the momentum started to change in that second round. The first round was pretty close back and forth, but in that second round, Shane Burgos starts ripping to the body, starts landing good shots. Shane Burgos started running away with that victory, and if Calvin Kattar didn't start the third round so strong, I think Shane Burgos probably would have ended up winning that fight. Do I think that Burgos would win in a rematch? I'm not sure. Kattar has definitely improved dramatically, but if Shane Burgos beats Josh Emmett in impressive enough fashion, listen, the rematch is interesting then. You know, like Shane Burgos, in my opinion, and I've said this a while ago, is the dark horse of the featherweight division. I think this guy is going to 100% end up inside the top 5. I have no doubt about that. Even if he does lose to Josh Emmett, I still think he's going to find a way to end up in the top 5. You saw Shane Burgos' granite chin, though. Against Calvin Kattar was one example, but also against Kurt Holobar as well. He got cracked so badly on the chin against Kurt Holobar with his hands down, with his feet off the floor as well, trying to move around and do his footwork type stuff. Got caught on the chin brutally, sank to the canvas, switched back on, laughed about it. That's so weird to me. I've never understood how some people's chins can do this. He got slept, turned off completely, came back awake, and the first reaction he had was not shock, it was laughter. Then he whips up a triangle on Kurt Holobar from his back in about 10 seconds after that and gets the job done. It might have been an armbar, actually. I think it was an armbar. It was an armbar. Shane Burgos gets the job done. I just think he gets it done against Josh Emmett. His striking's too good in the smaller octagon with a guy like Josh Emmett, who, although is the predator in the cage, Shane Burgos is the predator in this situation. Josh Emmett is going to be moving around, looking for the big shot, but Shane Burgos, I feel like, come the second round, is going to be the guy aggressing in this fight. And when you've got not a lot of cage to work with, Josh Emmett, it might be a little bit of a problem facing a guy like Shane Burgos, whose aim is to take away the cage from you, take away the octagon space, cut you off, pin you in a corner, rip body shots. He's a mean fighter, and I think it's going to take a toll on Josh Emmett. And here's what I'll say, and here is kind of my reasoning for the entire fight prediction. You cannot afford to let Shane Burgos be ahead. Josh Emmett lets his opponents get ahead on the case of they can get ahead because once I land this big bomb, they're going to go to sleep. I don't think with the way that Shane Burgos fights, you can allow him to get ahead in the first place in those first 2 rounds. I think if someone was going to pick Josh Emmett, I think their best case scenario would be that Josh Emmett wins this at the end of the 2nd round or in the 3rd round by KO. I think that would be their best case scenario. Or Josh Emmett drops him in the 2nd round and drops him in the 3rd and wins it by decision. Those are good predictions. I don't think it's going to happen in the 1st because that's not really the case with Josh Emmett. He does have power, but he takes a while to find the right shot to plant it on the button. You know, I know he KO'd Masad Bektic with a jab, but, you know, it was a good performance, don't get me wrong, but Josh Emmett has great power. I just don't think he's going to be able to find that power shot until later in the fight against Shane Burgos, who has a weird style. In the cage, he throws a lot of feints, he moves around well, he keeps his hands by his waist, he has great head movement, his eyes are open at all times. It's confusing to me how he can do it because he can have a guy flinging a jab in his face, but he's just watching them the whole time, perfectly out of range. He's got a ridiculous reach advantage here, which as the aggressor I think is going to come into an advantage because you can throw and get out the way without the big counter of Josh Emmett being in range to land. I just feel as though Shane Burgos has got this. You can't afford to let him get ahead. He has not got the style of Michael Johnson where he's going to be headhunting. He's not got that style where you can let him get away with it because I'm just taking jabs to the forehead, I'll land the shot. Shane Burgos has got the style where if he's winning, he's doing investment damage to you. He's chopping at the calf, he's going for the legs, he's ripping to the body, he's not headhunting the entire fight, and I feel like when a guy does that kind of stuff and they're playing the investment game, you can't afford to give them that much time ahead of you. And that's what's going to happen here. Josh Emmett is going to sit back, give Shane Burgos control in the 1st round, I feel like. Look to download some information, figure out what Shane Burgos is doing, try and formulate some kind of response in the corner for how he's going to land a big bomb in the next round. But with Shane Burgos, there's only so many body shots you can take, and when you're a big muscle-bound guy like Josh Emmett, something else I want to talk about here. First of all, you're not going to take too many body shots from Shane Burgos because no one takes too many body shots. They all end up dropping their hands, which opens up their head for him. But for Shane Burgos, as a guy who's going to be going forward and trying to win against Josh Emmett, and I say trying to win, I'm not saying that the other Josh Emmett opponents have not been trying to win. I'm saying that the other Josh Emmett opponents have been trying to get by and win. Shane Burgos is going to force the action. Other opponents of Josh Emmett avoid the action, look to pick Josh Emmett apart and just avoid the big shot at all times. I think that leaves them open to be KO'd a little bit more because when you're thinking about the big shot, you're not gritting down, you haven't got your head in a good position to take the brunt of the damage, and you're going to end up getting clipped trying to move around in some awkward style. With Shane Burgos with his chin down, hands up, and hands down, however he wants to do it, with his chin down, his whole body hunched over, walking Josh Emmett down. I think he's going to be able to take those shots more often, and because he's the aggressor, he's also going to force Josh Emmett to throw those shots more often, while Burgos is ripping body shots. With Emmett throwing power shots more often and getting body shots thrown against him and leg kicks, I think it's going to drain his gas tank. And in the third round, when usually Josh Emmett has found the answer to land his big shot, I think Burgos is going to eventually finish him. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes for a takedown in the third and just goes for some ground and pound. I know Josh Emmett is an amazing fighter, but listen, when you get beat up by Burgos for 2 rounds, doesn't matter what wrestling ability you have, you're going to get your legs taken out from underneath you and you're going to get smashed. Fatigue is his own worst enemy, and I think that's what's going to happen to Josh Emmett here. He's going to be forced to throw his bomb. Other guys won't do that. They'll let him sit back and figure things out. They'll just say, okay, you want to throw the bomb? I'm just going to jab you for 2 rounds. I'll try and do it for the third. If you land, you land. But if you don't, I'm going to walk away with a close win. Win every round closely on strikes. As long as I'm ahead on strikes, I'm beating Josh Emmett. Burgos has a seek and destroy attitude, forcing Emmett to throw the bombs. I just don't like the matchup for him. The reach advantage is massive. What, 14 centimeters at 145 pounds? That's ridiculous. Burgos is the way bigger man as well. Maybe not a stronger man, but still a strong guy for the weight class. Someone that Josh Emmett is not just going to be able to manhandle. I also feel as though the wins of Shane Burgos and even the losses of Shane Burgos are more impressive to me than the wins of Josh Emmett. Because you take away the Masad Bektik win, and I see Michael Johnson at featherweight, who Darren Elkins was able to defeat. I see Jeremy Stephens, who he lost to. Not a good look right now, seeing as Jeremy Stephens is currently on, what, a 5-fight losing streak or a 5-fight streak without a win. Losing to Jeremy Stephens isn't that good. There was the illegal knee, but I never thought that illegal knee had any effect on the fight whatsoever. It didn't even touch him. It glanced him when Stephens was bringing the knee back to the floor. I never understood the big deal about it, which is why it went ahead as a TKO finish. Then he beat Ricardo Lamas. Is Ricardo Lamas top level anymore? Then he beat Felipe Arantes. Like, these are wins that I don't quite understand. And he lost to Desmond Green by split decision. Like, he's beat some good guys, but he hasn't beat the best guys. He hasn't came up against a Calvin Kattar and was winning the whole thing like Shane Burgos was. He didn't win against Cub Swanson. He didn't win against Makwana Mirkani. Maybe Makwana Mirkani is a bit of a different name, but Charles Rosa. Shane Burgos got the job done against him, and I know Charles Rosa was having some success in those first 2 rounds, but Burgos will eventually get you. And that's my prediction. Burgos will eventually get Josh Emmett to back up too much, be the stalker, treat Josh Emmett like prey, take his big bombs, force the big bombs to come out of Josh Emmett while he's ripping body shots. Emmett's going to throw too many. He's going to use up all his ammunition. The third round's going to ding, ding, ding. And Burgos is going to seek and destroy and completely finish Josh Emmett in the third round in brutal fashion, earning a great victory and a great standout performance at UFC Fight Night Blaydes versus Volkov. I'm looking forward to it. And if Burgos wins this one, listen, if he wants to call out Calvin Kattar for a rematch, the top of the division, the top 5 in Yair Rodriguez, Habib Magomedsharipov, Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie and Volkanovski and Holloway, are all matched up right now. Kattar needs an opponent. If Burgos wins this, I'm open for a rematch. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And if Josh Emmett wins, give him Kattar as well. That'd be fun. I just don't see it happening. I could see him maybe dropping Shane Burgos at one point in the fight. You're not going to be able to switch the lights off. And if you're not going to be able to switch the lights off, you're just throwing too many of your bombs. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Like and subscribe. I'll see you later.